Well, hello, entrepreneurs. Would you like to start your day at 4 a.m.? If it meant setting yourself up for success before your work even begins, that's the goal that you're going to learn about in my interview with Terrianne Palmer. She's a coach, she's an athlete, she's a creator who helps people break free from survival patterns and builds lives and businesses they truly love. I'm Gale Bates, and welcome to my channel, where I share weekly conversations with entrepreneurs around the world about productivity, work-life balance, and what it really takes to build a thriving business from home. So if you are growing your business and you're an entrepreneur who wants systems that actually work, you're in the right place. So be sure to hit that button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, in this interview with Terrianne, she shares how she helps entrepreneurs start their day with intention by asking one powerful question. And it's pretty simple. What do I want to create today? So she shares with us what she calls her unconscious agendas quiz, which is a simple yet revealing exercise that uncovers the hidden patterns that quietly sabotage momentum and why awareness changes everything. And I totally agree with her. When we're aware of where we're at and what our surroundings are and what we really want to create, it really changes everything. And that's why I really think you're going to enjoy this interview. Now, she also shares details about what she calls her momentum method, which is a 12-week program, and she's launching it in January. And it's for conscious creators. These are entrepreneurs who are ready to move from survival mode into what she calls soul-led momentum. Well, is that you? Because she says no forcing, no burnout, no self-abandoning. She just helps you align your actions that feels like you. Sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? Now, midway through our interview, you'll learn how Terrianne opens up about her own journey, where she went from hibernation, which she says she hibernated for quite a while, and then came back connecting to have to connect with people to find so much change in the world of entrepreneurship. Her story is pretty interesting because she shares how she sucks at networking and how she overcomes it. So I think you'll be really interested in that. And you want to write down her favorite tech tools because she has some interesting ones, and her favorite books and, of course, podcasts that continue to shape her work. We're always looking for those, right? So this is really an honest, insightful conversation that if you are a serious, dedicated entrepreneur, you definitely want to listen into this. Welcome to Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series. I'm really happy to have you here today, all the way from Australia, my home country.
I actually didn't know that, Gail. There you go.
It's been a long time. I've lived out of the country, but I go back and forth, so it's not a problem.
Love it.
But I'm really excited to have you here and to talk about your business and how you help others as an entrepreneur. And I always love to kick off when we're talking a little bit about behind the scenes as being an entrepreneur here. Tell us a little bit about how you work, your daily life, how you feel during the day and when you're ready to go. What does that look like for you?
Well, I was actually thinking about how I start my day in terms of what I do. And I was like, right. And I had this thing in my head, well, I do this. And then I suddenly realized, I went, oh, who are you kidding? So I am what I would call an amateur athlete. My alarm goes off at 3:45 a.m. and I'm off to training at 3:45 a.m. 3 days a week and 4 o'clock 2 days a week, or 4:30, what time do I drop my son? 4:15, 2 days a week. So most of the time, the first thing I do is I am on automatic program in terms of up, get dressed, grab my water bottles, grab my protein water and shakes and stuff. I'm out the door, I'm training. That is the way that I pretty much start my day 6 days a week. And that is part of my lifestyle in terms of how I live life. So that's what I do to fulfill myself. That's actually where I do, that's kind of like my form of meditation in the morning. I would have to say I've been a sports person my entire life. So somebody says to me, you're addicted to it. And I said, I absolutely am. I'm addicted to the feel-good hormones that I get in the morning, and I'm a grumpy bear when I haven't had my shot. So that is how I start my day in terms of really setting myself up with the right framework. Because to me, if I've done my exercise in the morning, if I've done my training, not only am I filled up with the right hormones and that in terms of I'm feeling good, but my whole body is then alive for by the time I actually get to my office desk. I've already been up for 3 or 4 hours. I've already, I'm energized. I can tick off the list. I've already had successes because I've already ticked off the list that I've done my exercise, I've fueled my body, I've done my meditation. So I've checked off a whole heap of things before I even start my entrepreneurial workday, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, it does. And then I mean, it's that feeling. It's how you want to start your day. That's what this is about. And because we
Yeah,
have the opportunity as entrepreneurs to start our day any way we want, right? And I
that's it.
love that. I'm also a 4 a.m. girl, but I'm not as active as you are. But I really appreciate that. And then as your day progresses, do you do any kind of time blocking through your planning when you work?
It is actually my business. That is actually what I do. So one of the things that I teach people is about how to set your day up in the right way.
Yeah.
So I created now. So let me share a story with you, I suppose. One of the things that I am a process person,
Mhm.
so my husband is not, and this is why it's quite hilarious in our household. So we actually are both entrepreneurs that work from home. He works in a bedroom down that end of the house. I
Mhm.
work up next to the kitchen and the lounge room and everything else like that. So I'm very glad I've got a teenage son who sleeps in at the moment. And when I do things in the morning, the kitchen is quiet because nobody is out of bed yet, right? But we work in different areas of the house. But one of the things for me is because I'm so process driven, was I was looking for a way that I could put a lot of the things that really help me stay productive into one place. I am a writer as well. So I don't like to type out my thoughts and my goals and that. I like to write them. And I've got a beautiful journal that I would do my gratitude, I'd write gratitude things down on. I'd write my thoughts down on. I'd do a lot of writing that, but I couldn't find something that would allow me to really focus my daily structure. And so over the course of probably the last 4 or 5 years, I created my own journal and my own planner. So that's actually what I follow myself. And I share the processes that I follow, which are a mix of your traditional goal setting. For me, being an athlete, I'm very mind focused on how I do things, but it also brings in the spirituality side of things. So, my husband is an intuitive business coach and a medical intuitive in that. So, we do a lot of spirituality stuff in here as well, but for me, it's very grounded. So I couldn't find anything that allowed me to put all of that into one place. So I created my own. And so when you talk about that, like I have my little book here, it sits beside me, it goes everywhere with me. I just came back from a holiday with my mum in Bali, and the book came with me. It comes on the plane, it goes in the bedroom, it goes everywhere with me because it's my connection to my higher self, to my thoughts, to my processes. When I'm tired, I look at my planner and it tells me what I need to do next. So I have a process that I follow every single day because it's what gives me the best results throughout the day, if that makes sense. And I'm happy to share it if you want me to go into detail. It's completely up to you. But yeah,
Because we're kindred spirits. I have developed my own planning program as well. I have my own planner that I've developed, and I have my own notebook. I call it the one notebook system. But anyway, I want to know how
yeah.
you help women or anyone with your process. Tell us a bit more about that, how that really helps them be more productive. And that's what it's about, being more productive and being more focused and being more efficient. Because as entrepreneurs, this is huge. We want to know how, helping others do this, for entrepreneurs do this is so important. So share a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Well, let me give you a little bit of backstory just so people understand where I'm coming from here. So I used to work for a big organization, American guy actually, Chris Howard Companies, and he used to run events similar to Tony Robbins. So we would have 3 day breakthrough to success events where I think the biggest audience we had was 3,000 people in London. So I was a trainer for him for a few years, followed a lot of those processes and did a lot of personal development the traditional way. So I've been doing that. I think I was first speaking on stage in 2006. So it's been an awfully long time. It's almost, holy heck, coming up 20 years that I've been doing this. In the last 5 years, I was introduced to a new way of doing personal development or a new way of looking at things. And everything that I had learnt, there were some things for sure that I definitely went, oh, this still applies. But there was a lot of things that I went, none of this is relevant anymore. And in fact, everything that I've been teaching everybody perhaps has been great to get them to a certain level of awareness, but I no longer follow that anymore. I no longer believe in that way of doing things. And if anything, I believe now that the personal development space is broken and it actually reinforces people staying stuck in their cycles and their patterns of being stuck. And so so I've completely flipped everything now in terms of how I do stuff. So in terms of what I look at now when it comes to helping people be more productive, it all comes down to the very first point, which is their origin point. Where are they doing things from? So a lot of entrepreneurs they are, A-type personalities. They are people that are self-motivated who have typically done a lot of personal development in that. But for
Mhm.
me, it's looking at, well, where are you starting your journey from? When you wake up in the day, where are you starting, or where are you orientating your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions from? And typically, the answer that most people will give me is from the problems that they're there to solve. And
Mhm.
they're looking at everything from a problem perspective. And so
Mhm.
that's one of the first things that I like to try and get people to reverse is like, well, if you weren't solving that problem, but you were
Mhm.
just creating something from the simple space, and here's the orientation perspective of this, that you would just love to see it exist, then
Mhm.
what would you be doing differently? Because
Mhm.
most people are spending so many times on, oh, look, I've got to do this. The kids have got to be picked up here. I've got these bills to pay. Right, what's happening with my clients? Okay, they're needing this, I'm needing that. And it's all problem solving. Now, some
Mhm.
of that stuff has to be done. You can't leave the kids on the side of the road, right? So that, they've still got to be picked up. We've still got to be doing things, but it's about structuring your day in a different way where you start with, what am I trying to create today? Or what would I love to create today for no other reason than I'd love to see it exist? And
Yeah.
it's starting from that point and
Mhm.
then allowing your guidance or your intuition, because you don't need to know how. And this is another, thing that I tell everybody as well. How is not your job.
Mhm.
What is your job? And what I find with a lot of people nowadays is that they actually don't know what their what is. I
Mhm.
had a client, a brand new client that came and saw me last week. We started coaching together. And when he came into my coaching space, the first thing that he said to me, he said, I'm actually really nervous. And I said, what are you nervous about? And he said, I'm scared you're going to ask me what I want. And I don't know how to answer that question.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and I look at that and go, that's the truth for so many people. Like
Mhm.
in one of my communities that I run, when I ask the question, what do you want?
Mhm.
I get crickets. And I
Mhm.
think that's it's a common question that
Mhm.
people really struggle with because they've never given themselves permission to
Mhm.
ask that question and then
Mhm.
be okay with the answers of what they truly want. So
Mhm.
that's kind of one of the things when it comes to being productive for me, what I get people to do is backtrack all the way back to the beginning and just
Right.
go, okay, let's actually just start at the beginning here.
Yeah.
If you're present in the moment where you are right now, so that's the first thing I get people to do is like be present, rub your feet on the ground.
Right.
I have an exercise where I say, look, just become really present, feel the grooves in your fingers. Just
Mhm.
10 seconds, take that. Or like I have another one where I say to people, listen for the furthest away sound. Just listen, just do nothing but listen for the furthest away sound. What do you
Mhm.
hear?
Mhm.
Listen to the closest sound. Maybe it's your breathing, maybe it's something else. And that's it.
Mhm.
And automatically they're present. And then I
Yeah.
say to them, look, you are going to be informed by only one. You can only ever be informed in the present moment by one of two places,
Mhm.
either the future, which is
Mhm.
what you want to create, or the past. That's
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And most people spend their lives being informed by the past, which is
Mhm.
why they keep repeating the same cycles over and over and over again. So a lot of the things that I do is in terms of how to be more productive is I ask people, well, let's get present first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get present first. And then what would you like to create?
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to create today? So, one of the processes that I have from a daily basis is I work in 90-day cycles. So,
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the 90-day cycle, I'll have them do a process where they go into their land of plenty and find out, well, what are their true choices in terms of what truly matters to them.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll come up with, 5 to 7 things that truly matter to them. And it can be something that they want in 90 days. It can be something that they want in 10 years. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really matter, but that's what their heart truly wants. And
Yeah.
so at the beginning of every day, we connect to those true choices.
Yeah.
And just by connecting to them, saying, well, if this was already done, if this was already created, as I look back towards now in the present moment, what would I tell myself to do? And then
Mm-hmm.
I tell them to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first. So that's kind of like in a nutshell, very, very quickly, what I get people to do on a daily basis. And that way, to me, what they're starting their day with is they're starting their day taking intuitive, right action, which means they're
Right.
making progress towards things that actually matter
Yeah.
to them, as opposed to just all the noise and the busyness and the problems
Yeah.
that most people live their life by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that make sense? Because I kind of threw a lot out there.
It does. Well, let me ask you this. Is this your goal setting process, or do you have a specific goal setting process? But it sounds to me like this is the way you help people really achieve their goals. And it's so unique and I love it. Is that more or less how you do that?
Yeah, so I run a program called the Momentum Method because for me it's all about creating momentum
Yep.
towards what truly matters to you. That
Yeah.
is the purpose of living. We talk about living a life you love,
Yeah.
but you've got to know what that is.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's about discovering it along the journey. So
Yeah.
I run a program called the Momentum Method twice a year. It kicks off on the 1st of January and the 1st of July.
Okay.
And that is basically so. The way that I like to look at it is it's a blend of the spirituality with traditional practices, but I
Hmm.
also like to bring my athlete experience and mindset to the journey. And I explain people. So I know you're in Hawaii, Gail, so you might be able to see the picture in the background. Outrigger canoe paddling is actually my sport. I love it. I adore it. A lot of Hawaiians do it. I've done the Molokai to Oahu race before.
Yeah.
So I love that side of things. And one of the things for me as an outrigger is I'm always looking at where's the start line that I'm racing, where's my finish line, and how do I get there in the fastest, most efficient, least effort way. So that is always underlying everything that I do. So I kind of like to tell people, look at that. At the end of the day, I'm an athlete first,
Yeah.
and the business person second, because my sports is my passion, is my
Right.
absolute passion. It lights me up. It's what gives me, when I'm out on the ocean and there's whales and there's dolphins and there's waves and I just
Yeah.
time disappears for me. So that is my connection to source. So I bring that into this momentum method. That's kind of what's underlying it is
Yeah.
fastest way and most fun as well. Because I think about it, if I can catch a wave to get to the finish line the fastest way possible, well, that's woohoo. So I want to do it that way as well. So that's in there
It's
as well.
also,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's part of the
Right.
process. And the momentum method is this whole way of looking at things differently, but it is basically a goal setting, life affirming. It's kind of like a goal setting way of how to live life that aligns you with your true purpose in nature, that aligns you with health and vitality, that
Yeah.
puts you as the predominant creator in your life,
Yeah.
so that you can live a life you love. They're kind of like my 4 premises or 4 pillars that we work around.
I love it. And paddling, it's in my family. My husband taught paddling, and my kids all have done the Molokai Channel, all of that, so it's a big sport in
Oh,
Hawaii.
wonderful.
It's fascinating to me. Everybody sets goals differently. And
Yeah.
how do you find with your clients when you work with those who don't want to set goals? What tricks or tips do you have for entrepreneurs who just don't like setting goals?
They tend not to come to me, I'll be honest. So that would be the first thing is they probably wouldn't come to me if that was the case. But for me, it's not about setting goals, and I can understand why people would have resistance to that.
Yeah,
But I think the way that for me that I frame it up, it's about having just focus and direction for your day. So
yeah,
it's like that saying where they say a ship with no rudder
yeah, yeah,
will go anywhere and everywhere, and it doesn't matter where you're going because there's no direction that you're heading to. So,
right.
so I would probably call them out in terms of, well, there is an unconscious survival pattern that's
Yes,
underlying all of this for you not to want to put some direction towards where you're heading.
yes,
And for me, I would be looking at if there's no goals that you want, or there's nothing that you're saying that truly matters to you that you want to create,
yeah,
then that's because you've given up on life. And
yeah,
so I would be looking at those sort of questions because
yeah,
it's like, well, you don't have any passion or any excitement or any desire then to
yeah,
want anything in your life. And I don't believe that's true.
yeah.
And so, and
Yeah,
so for me, it would be well, let's have a look at the survival patterns that you're still running for you
yeah.
not to want to go after something.
It's true. I mean, I found that most people who don't like to set goals, it's because they think they never achieve them. And I think that's where you come in helping them. And I love the what you talked about. It's a direction. It's a direction that you need to go in, and you help them get there along the way. I love that. And we will put the description to your up and coming. I'm sure you've got your up and coming momentum group happening in January. So we'll put the description to that below as well.
Yeah,
So tell me
fantastic.
a little bit about some challenges you as an entrepreneur faced with. Talk a little bit about how you tackle them.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the biggest challenges as an entrepreneur, and particularly those who work for themselves from home, who potentially may not have a lot of outside contact,
Yeah.
is that the fact that you can become very isolated.
Mhm.
Very isolated. And so for me, so I suppose one of the biggest challenges was two things. When I was presenting on stage and when we ran our own programs and that, the first challenge that I'd have to say was burnout. I was because as entrepreneurs, we often wear many hats and we're doing lots and lots of different things all at the same time. And particularly for me during that time, there was no AI back then. So there was no assistants that helped us with our marketing or, I was doing everything. Plus I was a new mum, plus, plus the family, there was just a lot on. And for me, I actually went through a stage where I was like, that's it, I'm done. I cannot show up in front on stage anymore. And so I went into hibernation and I actually went and did the marketing and the admin and stuff for my husband's business. And I probably hid away for about 10 years.
Mhm.
And it's only in this last, and it's probably, my son is turning 17 in January, he's in his final year of school. And I kind of thought, well, what am I going to do when he leaves school? And it was like, well, I'm not ready to roll over and do nothing. I think it's time. And so for me, it was about coming back into the workplace. So the new challenge for me coming back into the online space and that again is navigating, well, what are all the changes? And it's not so much the changes in technology and things like that. I'm okay with all of that. But what are all the changes in terms of how people think now? How people behave now, what actions do they take now? What's the society, like the society's expectations and how they show up now? Like, my trip to Bali was, I could not believe how many influencers there were everywhere around all the resorts. So, I went for a run and did my workout and that every morning. And the number of people who had tripods, number of particularly ladies and a few guys who had their
Mhm.
tripods out and their cameras up, or who were
Mhm.
walking along with their selfie sticks doing their Instagram reels and posts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. We went to a one of the big rice paddies that are there, and they actually sell tickets now for the ladies to dress up in these beautiful long dresses, and they've got swings that swing out on the over the rice paddies with photographers taking photos for their Instagram. Like it's a whole market now. And so, it was really interesting for me just watching this going, oh my God, like this whole influencer space is huge now, absolutely huge. And I couldn't help myself. These ladies are in these beautiful dresses, and here I am. It was like 34 degrees and about to rain 'cause it was so humid and that. And they did have one. They had one picture thing, and it was kind of like, to me, it looked like a nest, like an eagle's nest. So you had these beautiful ladies on these swings with their flowing dresses and that. And I said, and this is how they do it, and this is how I do it. And I was sitting in the nest like a bird, going like this. And I posted that out to people and went, wow, this is me being real. So I think some of the challenges there are actually figuring out, like, how do people think nowadays? What are they buying nowadays? What are the things that they are attracted to? And some of that's like, some of them, you need to be noisy. You need to
Yeah.
have a lot of noise out there for them to pay attention to you. Credibility matters for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then also the other side of things, authenticity matters nowadays. People want to know real. So I've chosen that path rather than the other one and gone, okay, well, I'm just going to let them see me as I am. And if there's days that I'm in my workout gear where I say, look, I don't look very attractive in my workout gear, but this is me real.
Yeah.
I've chosen that path,
Yeah.
particularly with the invention. I'm looking at what's happening with AI. So
Yeah.
from a challenge perspective, I think that's a big part of it. But I
Oh,
think that the secondary part of it, look, I have so many opinions on this, Gal, is the loneliness. And
yes.
that's one thing that I would say to entrepreneurs is to make sure you don't hibernate away. Like I hibernated away and lost a lot of contact with a lot of my network, my connections. And I would say to people, if I was to give them advice coming back out into the space,
Yeah.
is your networks, your connections. And if there's audience members out there, by the way, I suck at networking. So if you think, oh, but I'm not a good networker, I'm not a good networker either, but you have to do it. You have to get
Yeah.
out there. You have to connect with other people because
Yeah.
that's what will help you speed up your journey a lot faster when you've got other people around you who are either championing you, giving you that confidence when sometimes you have those days where you just don't feel like doing what you need to do, or just bouncing ideas off. And, it's kind of like that 1 + 1 = 11. It really does work if you've got networks and connections around you. So that would
Oh,
be the other thing that I would say to people was that was a challenge for me coming back and going, I don't know anyone anymore. I've got
yeah.
no connections anymore. Where do I even start?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that is so important. And collaboration and communication with others, it has to be high on the scale for you as an entrepreneur. You don't like networking. I won't say you suck at networking because I don't know. And I actually believe that. Okay, seeing how well that you converse with others, I don't believe that. But anyway, tell us a little bit about how you do collaborate and how you do network with others. What do you have any advice for people who suck at it, who don't like it, and who have to do it?
Well, I think the thing for me, so I apologize to my girlfriends in advance. I'm never going to be the person that organizes the catch up or the coffee catch up or the drinks or anything else like that. I'm never going to be that person. And I say to them, I'm never going to ring you to organize this, but I love the fact that you did. And I said, if I could be a friend to you in another way, then let me know what that way is, and I will absolutely be there. I'll be the one that brings amazing food, or I'll be the one that, you know what I mean? I do it that. I said, but you be the one who organises it because it's never going to be me. So I would say, if you get invited to things, go.
Yeah,
That is the
yeah,
first thing. It's like when you get those invitations, don't make it so hard because it's so easy for us as entrepreneurs. Oh, you know what? I want to do this instead. Or, do you know, and you say, yep, I'm going to go, I'm going to go, I'm going to go. And then they pull out at the last minute.
yeah,
So the first thing that I would say to you is if you get invited to go somewhere, be a part of something, don't make it a preference, make it a
mhm,
commitment to
yeah,
yourself
yeah,
and go. That would
yeah,
be the first thing.
yeah.
And the second thing for me was, I've got to say, is I joined the school platform. And I would have to say, the school platform I am just in love with it. I am no longer, I don't spend any time on any of the other platforms anymore. I spend all my time in school, and the number of connections that I have made worldwide, and I'm going to say quality connections with amazing people that light me up, have been phenomenal. So
Yeah.
my tip to everybody would be, if you're not already on school, it's time to check it out.
And you have a group on your own group on school, right?
Yep,
Yes.
yep,
And
that's
we'll
right.
tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So it's called the superconscious switch. So it's all about switching how you do things. So, like we were talking about it before,
Yeah.
and working from your superconscious as opposed to your conscious, or working from the future as opposed to your past.
Yeah.
So the community is really a place. When I started it, what it was I actually had started a group for my course, the Momentum Method, and
Yeah.
so that was a Facebook group. But
Yeah.
the and what I found from Facebook, the feedback that I was getting from it was very hard to see when anybody was posting in there because the algorithms just weren't showing it up.
Right.
But from I did a lot of surveys in that when I first came back into the marketplace again when I first launched halfway through last year. And the biggest thing that people were wanting wasn't necessarily the goal planning. That was kind of like the cherry on the top. That was the bonus. They wanted somewhere to feel like they could belong, but also that they had a voice. And what
Yeah.
was happening for me, what I discovered was you had all these Facebook groups that people had, but what I found in those groups was that if you had a different opinion to, say, the moderator or the owner of the group, you got booted out. You had to conform to what they wanted in that group.
Yeah.
And for me, I went, well, that's not us being humans. That's not allowing people to be themselves fully. So,
Right.
so it kind of, the reason I ended up on school was so I started up this Facebook group myself and said, look, I want this to be a place where
Yeah.
you can come and feel safe to
Yeah.
share your opinion and not
Yeah.
be shouted down.
Yeah.
People don't need to agree with your opinion, but they need to respect it
Mhm.
and then teach people that it's connection above being right. So and so when I kind of said, look, this is what I'm thinking. What do you guys think about this? I was flooded with messages from people saying, "Oh my God, Terrianne, we would love to be a part of it. Yes, please, yes, please, yes, please." And it was that overwhelming feeling that people just want to feel like they belong to something nowadays and something that values them for being themselves. And so that's why I decided. So I actually started it on Facebook first, but then I just found the Facebook platform was not meeting my needs, and
Right.
so switched it over to school,
Oh,
and I'm building it there. So we've been on school now for I think coming up 4 months now, and I'm not driving any traffic to it yet, just because I haven't had time to do that yet. I've been making too many connections. But the group is organically growing on its own, but it's
yeah.
really a space to not only make the switch on how you think and how you show up every day, but
Yeah.
also to bring the authentic self, your opinions, your perspectives, your gifts, your talents, but bring it into a space whereby you feel safe.
Yeah.
My whole thing that I like to tell everybody is I want, when you think of our group, is I want you to think of it as being, oh, this is the place I go to that feels like home. And
Great.
so
Yeah.
that's kind of the vibe that I'm trying to create in there.
Great.
I'm very new at it, but we're doing our best, and I think this comes from I'm obviously from New Zealand. So for those who don't know, I'm part Māori, so I'm half Māori, and so it's the whānau or the family is a very big part
Mhm.
of who we are and what we do. And so that's my feeling with this is how can I create this whānau
Mhm.
family feeling that people feel safe to come enjoy.
I love it. And is your group free or is it paid?
It is a free group.
It is a
It is
free.
a free group. So at the moment, it is a free group. So anybody can come and join. They can check it out. They can stay for as long as they like, or they can, check it out. But the thing that I do say to people, when you
Great.
come into school, because it's a brand new platform, if it's the first time you're on school, come and check out my group, but go and check out other groups as well. Because
Yeah.
the more active you are in other people's groups, then the more the platform becomes the place that you go, oh, what's happening in here today? Or, oh, what's
Right.
happening? That's how you spend more time in there. So,
No,
I
I
do
love
say
it.
that
I
as
love
well.
it. Yeah, I've been on it myself. I've got a group starting soon, which is pretty exciting. And
Yay.
it's a great place. Yes, and I will definitely come into your group for sure. And we will put the link to that below for people who are watching this today. So
Yeah, great.
talk a little bit more about technology. Do you have any other technology tools that you use? Sometimes we call them your tech stack that you use in your business. Because I love
Yep.
to ask this question because everybody uses different tools, technology tools, and it might be something we haven't heard of, or you might be sharing something that somebody has heard of, but you love it a little bit differently. Talk a little bit about it.
Definitely. The tech that I probably use is, so school would be my number one thing. So I used to have a website on Squarespace. I let it go. I got rid of the website, and I
Yeah.
now actually have school as my main hub, my main website for everything that I'm doing. I do still have Go High Level, which I use for my lead magnets.
Mhm.
Any lead magnets or any small promotions that I'm doing, I might run it through GHL.
Mhm.
But I'm not using that as much because I am using school all the time. So school really is the platform that can be used for a whole heap of things. And the
Mhm.
third tech thing that I would suggest, or I use three and four, would be ChatGPT and Claude. I use both
Okay.
all the time. And in fact, I would say for entrepreneurs, if you are not using AI in your business now, then you are being left behind. And it's about learning how to use AI effectively in your business for the things that you're doing, not so it takes away your voice and your tone and who you are. Like, there are certainly some things that you need to be doing yourself, and you need to be making sure that you're keeping your brain working. So I'm very big on that as well. But there are a whole heap of things that it can do for you so much better, so much faster than anybody else. And if you're not using AI in your business every day, then I would suggest that you are being left behind in
Yeah.
some way,
Great advice.
form or another.
Great advice. How do you use those two differently? How do you use ChatGPT and Claude differently?
I bounce them off each other.
Okay.
So it's almost like having two advisors. And so one will give me their advice, or I might get one to give me the draft outline. So ChatGPT, I have the paid version.
Yeah.
And because it has the memory and you can set up your projects in that, I use that as my main one. But
Yeah.
Claude for me does much better writing and better research on some things, and
Yeah.
is a little bit more hard hitting. So sometimes, Claude will actually come back to me and say, Terrianne, you're mucking around. Or Terrianne, you're hiding behind things here. You need to be doing this. And I'll be like, okay, Claude, rightio.
Yeah.
But you have to put more, the prompts are different in Claude. But so what I'll tend to do, so for something, if you're a content person or an online coach or healer or anything like this is probably more prevalent for you, is I might upload some of my writings, some of my texts, some of my podcasts, and say, right, I need X, Y, Z. So I didn't do this with my mentor method because it was, I've had this for a wee while. But for example, if it was my course, I would upload the course into it and say, right, I need to create a sales page.
Right.
Give me, please read through this. Now give me 10 titles. And I'd pick 10 titles and subtitles for a sales page. Then I'd say, okay, what are the key points of a sales page after reading that book and using this title? So you pick one title so you know what theme it's going to be. And you'll
Right.
say, okay, give me the outline of a sales page. So I'd get ChatGPT, or I call him Chatty. I'd get Chatty to give me the outline. I'd have a
Yeah.
quick read through the outline, make sure it was all okay. And then I'd say, okay, write my first draft for a sales page. Then I'd take that draft and pop it into Claude and say, Claude, here's a draft outline of my sales page. Please follow. I follow James Wedmore for a lot of online marketing and copy content and stuff like that. And I'd say,
Mhm.
following James Wedmore's principles for best sales page, please make it a 10 out of 10 and rewrite it for me. And
Yeah.
that's how I get the best of both worlds.
I,
Sometimes Chatty will go a bit tired, so I'll put it into Claude. Sometimes Claude will be a bit tired, so I'll pop it back into Chatty. So it's about
I,
using the two to bounce off each other.
that is so cool. I know a lot of entrepreneurs are going to love what you shared with us today. That's fantastic.
Awesome.
So you talked a little bit earlier about professional development. As you said, it's not really your thing these days. But do you have any kind of book recommendations or podcast recommendations to help that helps other entrepreneurs or helps you as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, well, there's my podcast, the One Person Podcast. So,
Okay.
yeah, so you can do that one. But no, when I say that in terms of personal development, how traditional personal development has been taught and is still being taught is what
Yeah.
I say I don't follow anymore. But I
Right.
certainly believe everybody needs to be growing and moving. The way that I look at it, if you're not growing, you're dying. It's one of
Right.
the two things. So you're either doing something to improve yourself some way, and that is kind of like I say, that's not a value of mine. That's just part of how I live. That's
Yeah.
who I am. So I'm always doing something. Look, I think my podcasts and that change, and I think it depends on what you're looking for example. So I'm always looking at, okay, these are my true choices, the things that matter to me at the moment. What do I need? Who do I need? Or who's the expert, the mentors, those sort of people that I need in my life to help me move those forward? And so I go and look for those. I'll ask ChatGPT to say, okay, this is where I want to go. Who are the best people in this space right now? And it'll give me a list. So they're always changing. Having
Mhm.
said that, though, there are a couple of people that I still follow and I love and will always follow. One of the books that I'm currently reading that I have been reading for years, and it's only now I'm starting to lock in and love it again, which is The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard.
Mm.
So I've had that book for years. My husband loves it and has studied it. I don't know how many times. We have actually four copies in this household. That's how, how much that we have followed. I have not been able to get myself to lock into that book for 12 years. And I was listening to the audio on my canoe the other day, and it suddenly just, it was like, when things just suddenly all of a sudden slip into the holes that are
That's
there, it
right.
just went pop, 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 pop. I went, the power of awareness. Oh my God, it's locked in. It's finally integrated. I've got it. So I'm going to give Neil Goddard's book a shout out there. So I do love that book.
Yeah.
The other podcast that I do love, I follow Simon Sinek's podcast
Uh-huh.
just because a little bit of optimism. I just love how he has conversations with his guests, how he interviews, and how he pulls things out of his clients.
Uh-huh.
So that's my kind of feel good podcast.
Uh-huh.
And then my recent one that I've actually just started because he's done some amazing interviews around AI. In fact, I'm making the whole family watch a particular episode on AI is the Diary of a
CEO.
DOAC. Yeah, a Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Stephen
I
Bartlett.
see him. Yeah, he's really good.
Stephen Bartlett's one. So he has been doing some incredible stuff and had some amazing guests on around the changes with AI, and he's very connected in that space. So there's in particular the last 2 weeks, I think he's had two guests on with AI.
Yeah.
Honestly, Gail, I'm going to say I recommend anyone who's listening to this jump on that podcast and find the two AI interviews and
Yeah.
watch them. And if you've
Okay.
got teenage kids, have
Yeah.
them watch it with you as well because it really was eye-opening, fascinating, and I think it's a conversation that everybody needs to be having
Yep.
when we're talking about the survival of our species on Earth. So
Oh,
yeah, it was
wow.
really big. It was really big.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, now
Yeah.
let's talk about you. You love your exercising, you're up early. Is that your self-care, or what is it that you do to take care of you?
Okay, so this would be my survival pattern that it's not my strength. Okay, so in terms of being is this one of my number one? I just rock at it. It's not my thing, and I tend to be that person that finds himself on a heap by Sunday, because I'm exhausted because I've been go 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 go,
Right.
and part of that is because I love what I do. And there's so many things that I love what I do. It's like, oh, just one more, just one more, just one more. And then of course I get to Sundays and I'm kind of crash and burn type person. So that is kind of my cycle. But here's the thing, I don't have a problem with it. So I would have to say from a self-care perspective, Sunday is my day off. Sunday is, and I think this comes from programming childhood. Back in the day, Sundays at home used to be the family day. So you would go and hang out with your nan and the rest of the family, and everybody would come together. Then you'd come home Sunday night at 6 o'clock, used to be the Disney movies. So I grew up at 6 o'clock, you turned on telly and you watched a feel good Disney movie, where a
Yeah.
dog saved somebody else's life. And it was always the good feel ones. And you prepared yourself for the week ahead. You had a Sunday roast, you watched the Sunday night movie, the family was all together.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. So I kind of look at Sundays as being that same day. Now my routine is I get up and go to the markets and get our fresh fruit and veggies for the week.
Yeah.
So that's for me setting up that week.
Yeah.
I'll look at, just making sure everything's tidy, everything's prepared for the week. And then it's a day, if I'm tired, I'll sit and watch telly all day long, or I'll swim in the pool, or I'll whatever my body feels like it needs to do, it's the day of rest. And I
Yeah.
tend not to do technology on a Sunday. So,
Yeah.
my mum will say to me, "But I sent you an email." I said, "I don't look at my emails. I don't pick up my phone. I don't tend to do anything on technology on a Sunday where possible." And so that's probably my biggest self-care rest thing that I can do for myself is give myself that time
Yeah.
to do nothing
I love
if I
it. It's
can.
great. That's wonderful. Yeah. Everybody has their different way, but Sunday can be a very sacred day. And I love that you do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now tell everybody a little bit about where they can, connect with you. Tell us about, your business and how you help people. And we will put all of that information with your links and any free resources that you offer. We'll put that in the description below.
Okay, fantastic. Actually, let me talk about when I talked about the survival instincts that a lot of people as to that's a lot of the reason why they're either repeating the same pattern. So whether they're getting that same partner that's doing those behaviors that they don't really want in their lives, or whether they're ending up in the same financial situation that they don't like being in, or whether they find themselves in the middle of conflicts and dramas all the time. They're going, if you're ever saying those questions on, oh, why does this keep happening to me? Or, oh, God, I've been here before. Those sorts of things, then I would say that's part of their survival pattern. So there is something that I have got for your listeners, which is completely free. It takes them 3 minutes to do. And here's the thing about that. It's kind of like most people already know what they're meant to do. They know what they should be doing. Like they know they should launch their next program. They know they should put their prices up. They know they should post post that content out on their social media or have that conversation. But when it comes to actually doing it, they freeze or they research more. They've got to plan more. They've got to convince themselves that they need one more thing, one more certification or another strategy or one more sign from the universe. Do you know what I mean, Gail? And, a lot of people will turn around and say to me, oh, look, it's just a motivation problem or it's a discipline problem. And I'm going to tell everybody, well, it's not. It's your unconscious mind running survival patterns, protection programs that were designed from the ages of 2 to 7 years old. And what's happening is that it's treating everything that you do as a survival threat. And so, and that's what a lot of people have. So what I put together was I've got a quiz which identifies your top 3 unconscious agendas. And so it just helps people. Now it's a really basic, honestly, I can't remember how many questions, either 10 or 20 questions in there, but it literally takes about 3 minutes to do. So it's things like you might find out that you're the perfectionist who won't launch until everything's done perfectly, or the people pleaser who builds everyone else's dreams around them, but never their own. Or maybe you're the achiever, that was me, who burned out because I was busy trying to prove my worth by being continuously busy and endless productivity, right? So those are some of the things that you do, and they're what I call your saboteurs. They're the saboteurs that stop you. They typically stop you just before you're about to have your breakthrough to go to your next level. And that's why sometimes success feels dangerous. That's why you're exhausted because you're continually fighting yourself. So I will give you the link, Gail, so that you can pop that down below. But that's a quick quiz that you can do just to find out what your unconscious agenda might be doing. And actually, I had somebody in my group do it in the Superconscious Switch community that did it just yesterday. And she said, oh my God, I would never have thought that person, it was the avoider, was me. I would never have thought that was me. She said, but when I read through the description, I do all of those things.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's about becoming aware of those deeper level patterns that you just so unconsciously do them. You're not even aware that they're there until somebody shows you. And something I like to say is you can't unsee what you've already seen.
Right.
So once that becomes your awareness, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing it everywhere. And then that's when you get to make that really big switch. So that's the first thing you'll do. So have a go at doing the agenda, guys. But definitely come and check me out on the school communities. The community is called the Superconscious Switch.
Right.
It's free to join, so it's really easy to come into the community.
Right.
You'll get a big welcome from me when you come in. That's the first thing. I'm in
Yeah.
there every day, but you can also do the unconscious agendas in there. We've got conversations about that in there. And
Yeah.
obviously, I'm launching the momentum method. It's all going to be run in that school community. So that's kind of like the hub or the best place to come and visit me if you want to find out about more about what we're doing.
Super. So we'll put the quiz down below. We'll also put your school group and information on the momentum method coming up as well.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
perfect.
Terrianne, thank you so much. This has just been wonderful. I think we are kindred spirits here. We kind of sync along the same levels, but you've really shared some wonderful ways for entrepreneurs to help them. And I hope most of them click on your link so that they join your school group and learn more about what you offer them. So thanks so much for
Fantastic.
being on today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Gail. It's been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
So here is the 3 gems of wisdom that I gleaned from my conversation with Terrianne, which I really loved. She talks about first her identity shift. And I loved how she shared that she's an athlete first and she's a business owner second. And how for her, staying connected to her source energy is really what guides her. And that all shows up in her business. And she says, if I can catch a wave to the finish line as smoothly as possible, woohoo! That's pretty amazing mindset. Okay, so looking at it from that angle, I really love that myself. So think about that with yourself. What shows up in your business that's your source energy? I want you to think about that and maybe share that with me in the comments below. The second gem of wisdom I loved was her approach to journaling and goal setting because I do the same thing. She's created her own journal, she's created her own planner. I have done the same thing, so we're kind of kindred spirits. But what Terrianne has included is how she blends traditional, what she calls athletic style goal setting with spirituality and intuition. She says it's structured, but it's really aligned. And that is a powerful combination for entrepreneurs, if you ask me, especially if you want results without burnout. And the third gem of wisdom I absolutely loved from this conversation was her use of AI. I hope you were able to take that in. If you didn't, go back and watch it, because she explains how she uses ChatGPT and Claude AI differently to get the best of both worlds. So if you missed that part, really listen again. It could be a game changer for how you work and think as an entrepreneur. So be sure to check out Terrianne's Momentum Method program, which is launching in January. And don't forget to join her school community, which is called the Subconscious Switch. Listen to her one-person podcast. You'll find all of those links in the description below. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home.